Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Winston Da Silva here. I'm gonna be talking about my transformation from 235 pounds to 165 pounds in a year. We're gonna go over my 3 main tips that got me jacked and shredded at the same time. The first thing we're gonna go over is, of course, the diet. What did I do for diet? How did I get shredded? What I did personally is opposite what most people do. People usually starve themselves and restrict too many calories and stay away from their favorite foods, which I think is very unsustainable for the average person and also for myself, right? So when I started my cut, before we even talk about my diet, why did I want to cut? So I was 235 pounds during my football season in high school, and I wanted to get shredded. I got tired of being overweight, and I was trying to find the best way to do that. And I've cut many times and failed, but what I learned and what worked best for me is actually a slight calorie deficit, right? So from my maintenance calories that I use a calculator, right? There's many formulas, websites where you can find your maintenance calories. I found my maintenance calories and I only took out 200 to 500 calories, right? So I wasn't in a 1,000 calorie deficit. I wasn't starving myself. I was still able to eat. I was basically eating 3 to 4 meals every single day, right? It was pretty hard not to, I wasn't starving myself basically, right? And the biggest thing is also having, still eating the food you love throughout the cut, right? I was still going out, I was still doing all that, but as long as I tracked all my food, it worked, right? Usually what you've heard online is whatever fits your macros, that's basically what I followed, right? It wasn't as restricting, but the most important thing was just at least staying on that diet. Another trick I used was cardio, right? I personally like doing cardio. Most people don't, but if you're in a cut and you want to eat more food, this is you can use cardio as a tool. So example, after my weightlifting sessions, I would either do a 30 to 20 minute session of cardio, which would burn 400 to 500 calories, depending on what exercise. Personally, I use the Assault Bike, which burns about 100 calories every 10 minutes, which is a good amount of calories, right? So I would burn 300 to 500 calories each cardio session, and that allowed me to get another meal in, right? So cardio is not required, but you can use it as a tool to lose weight, right? So moving on to the second part, the workout. What did I do for workouts? So this really depends on your schedule and the type of person you are. What I recommend is at least hitting every single muscle group 1 to 2 times every week. And then on top of that, you want to group those muscle groups based on your time schedule. So let's say you're a corporate worker and you have about, 2 hours per week to work out. So what I would suggest to you is you would do 1 hour session, whatever day throughout the week, make it a full body workout, right? Hitting every single muscle group. I would say at least 2 to 3 sets each muscle group, and then have a second day, which you work out for an hour and do the same thing, right? So it's not about following the most popular split, like push-pull legs, which is usually 6 days per week, which a lot of people, when you have a lot of responsibilities, is not really possible. So whether the workout split be a 2 day per week, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, even 1 day, whatever hits every single muscle group 1 to 2 times every week is gonna be the most optimal, right? And on top of that, obviously there's certain splits I would say in my personal preference works best, but what's best for everyone else generally is whatever you can stick with, right? So of course, for me personally, I would advocate splits that are over 4 days per week or 3 days per week, but most people can't do that. So the most optimal split for you is gonna be maybe a 1 day or a 2 day, right? It's better than not working out at all. So that's what I cover for workouts. I'm gonna have another video where I go more in depth on exercise choice, rep ranges, and what I have done over the years. The third tip to lose all the weight and be shredded finally after all your failed attempts is really understanding your why. Why do you want to do this? Not because you want to be shredded and impress other people, which is usually a goal that when times get tough during your cutting phase and it's getting hard to track your food, the workouts are getting too difficult, that's usually a reason that doesn't really stick with you. I would go even deeper, right? So my reason why I wanted to get shredded initially was I wanted to look good for other people. And then I really thought in my mind, what is actually important to me. What's actually important to me, what I found is I wanted to be the best man I possibly could be, and I wanted to be the best version of myself. And that why sticked to me and allowed me to push through harder than what my initial why, which was just to look good, right? So that's the most important thing, right? Whether that why be maybe you grew up and you didn't have as much self-confidence, and who knows what it could have been, right? There's a lot of things, everyone goes through their own stuff, and it's better to use that as the fuel to get to where you want to be than a very superficial reason why you want to get in shape, right? So something that's a little more emotional for yourself is gonna be the perfect reason why you get in shape. All right, guys, thank you for the video. Like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next video.